Welcome back. You're watching India Market Open. Vimal Kejriwal, Managing Director and CEO at KEC International, joins in. Remember, the stock has been in focus, catching a lot of attention of investors and traders on back of big order wins. And of course, let's not forget a spectacular set of earnings that were posted by the company in the third quarter. Mr. Kejriwal, good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's actually looking really good for you. The last 6 quarters have been fantastic. Last quarter numbers have caught everyone's attention. And now you've gone out and bagged another big order to the tune of 2,257 crores. Tell us, what vertical is this? Is this TND or non-TND? Where does this take your order book? I believe there has been an upside risk to your revenue guidance as well.
Good morning, Samida. Thanks for having me. So largely this order is, I think, almost 80-85% is from our transmission vertical, and the rest is spread across, cables and civil. Also, on the revenue side, we have been talking around 20,000 crores, and I think we should be somewhere there, maybe 100-200 crores here or there, I don't know, but we should be close to our numbers, which would be roughly around 16-17% growth to our last year number, which again were at 16-17%. So I think we are doing well on the growth side.
Kejriwal, quarter 4 is historically a very strong order for order wins. And I believe if you can share with me your order pipeline as well, what you bid for, what is the conversion that we're expecting from those order wins, and where will fourth quarter or the start of next quarter stand at in terms of incremental orders?
So I think the issue is that this year it may not be as great as it always is, because, and typically what happens is most of the orders come in the last 15 days. Now with the election, code of conduct almost around the corner, whatever has not been ordered.
Code of conduct applies every.
So, if you look at yesterday's announcements, we announced, some of our competitors announced, so most of the people got orders from Power Grid and, others. So I think the number would depend upon how soon the code comes and how quickly people, let's say we are L1, like even today we have an order L1 of almost close to 5,000 crores, of which some are from government utilities. So if they are able to process and give the orders before it is announced, whenever it is announced, I think that will impact. We have some. So in all, we have around 5,000 crores, as I said, partly from government, partly from private, and some from international. So we are still hopeful that some more things will come out from non-utility. As far as first quarter is concerned, I think till May end, I don't see much orders coming in from the government sector. But we have bid for a lot of tenders in the civil side and international, and we do hope that things will, start moving at least that side, and we should get some orders.
Kejriwal, can you quantify the order pipeline for me?
So if you look at the tender, I'll say the tender pipeline today is almost 110,000 crores of tenders, which we have either quoted in the recent past, which are not yet opened, or which are to be quoted in the, let's say, next couple of months or two or 3 months. So it's around 110,000, of which around 55, I'll say around 60,000 is from the transmission sector, both India, international, which includes our SA Americas, and the rest is between civil, renewable, and railways.
Right. And what is the conversion in terms of order historically to revenue? If 110,000 crores is what you're bidding for, how much of that will mature into revenue or orders? Historically, I know it's tough to call out what's good looking ahead.
So typically we have been getting around 15-16% of what we bid, okay? Or I'll say 1 out of 6 is what we typically look at. So out of 110,000, which is there today, hopefully if we win 15%, maybe 15,000 crores should come out of this tender pipeline.
So Kejriwal, I want to talk to you about margins because I know historically margins were slightly under pressure because a lot of those legacy projects were not completed in that sense. Looking ahead, India and internationally, it seems like it's a supplier's market because the orders are coming in thick and fast, and there are only that many players like yourself that are bidding for these projects. What is the view on margins? We've seen an improvement in the third quarter. Is it fair to assume that you would go back to levels of 8% on EBITDA margins, or that looks a little far-fetched over the next few quarters?
Our expectation is that next year, I'm saying for the full year, FY25, we should be anywhere between 7.5 to 8. So it is not far-fetched, okay? So I think we expect that, anywhere between 7.5 to 8, depending upon, what happens on the supply side and other issues. We should be close to that. And Post that, I think next year we will finish all our legacies orders and all. So the year after FY26, I think we are clearly targeting to reach double digit.
And sir, the new orders that you're bidding for are coming in at better margins, you think, or that you've closed, they're coming in at better margins? So is there an upside risk from 8% going into next year?
It would depend upon which orders get executed, number one. Number two, what you said is right in the sense that there are orders which are bidding at I'll say, higher margins. So it's not that, the whole piece is going up. It's, order to order, client to client with competition, what is happening, etc., where the margins get stacked up. But clearly there is an improvement in the margins at which we are bidding.
Mr. Kejriwal, I did read about the fact that business is roaring in the Middle East. So countries like Oman, Saudi, are adding capacity in some of those Middle Eastern countries. What is your export order book? Is it healthy currently? Big order wins there expected? And also, are those export orders at better margins?
So if you look at our, let me give an overall picture of our revenue. Our revenues this year will be around 20,000, of which around 30% would be outside India. The 6,000, 6,500 would be outside India. But if you look at the breakup in transmission, more than 60% of our order revenues come from international. India is higher because of our civil and railway business. So already we are at around 60-70% of our revenues for international come from the overseas market, especially Middle East and Americas. Clearly, Middle East is doing very well. And I think our order book in Saudi itself is more than $500 million. And right now we are all in T&D. We just announced our first oil and gas order in Africa. So clearly we are seeing that international will definitely grow, especially the Middle East and the Americas. But the growth in India, I think, is far outpacing all other growths.
It's a problem of plenty in that sense, right, Mr. Kejriwal?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think, yeah.
Right. I want to talk to you and understand about these supply chain pressures. And I heard a couple of your interviews where you said that there was some supply chain pressures that we were facing. And I do understand that may not have a direct impact on margins, but it's going to delay projects or delivery in that sense. Do you anticipate delays in that sense, your orders converting into recognizable revenues then in the next couple of quarters? Is there a downside risk there?
So we are talking about a 15% growth next year from the current 20,000, which we anticipate to happen. So that should be roughly around 23,000. We have an order book of around 30,000. We have an L1 of close to 5,000. So typically we have seen that our conversion would be from, order book to revenue, or it will be 1.5. So 30,000 crores should translate into 20,000 crores of revenue. Plus, we should have a lot more order wins which will happen during the year, and especially orders which come in Q1 or Q2 will get translated into revenue. See, unlike some of my peers and competitors, we are still not in heavy civil or items, projects which are running into 3 years, 4 years. My projects are typically, all between 18 to 24 months. So I don't see any downside risk to what we are talking in terms of the numbers or order book to revenue conversion. Coming to your question on supply chain, yes, there has been some pressure happening, and I think it's because you also mentioned the problem of plenty, where suddenly we are seeing a lot of orders coming. I've never seen so many orders coming in India T&D. Our India T&D order book and order intake is the highest ever. So clearly there will be a pressure because 2 years back, this industry was suffering very badly. So people had downsized and people had not added capacity, which they are now doing. So our view is that, probably in H2, we should have a easing of supply chain. People are adding capacity. And so conductors has been the biggest issue. Now we are adding our own conductor manufacturing. Then I think the other item which has been on short supply has been transformers and GIS, etc., where we are now seeing government looking at relaxing some rules, etc. So I think in H2, the issue should get resolved. There has been a little bit compounding because of the Red Sea impact, where supplies are getting delayed from Europe or to Europe, which I think it's a matter of time, a month or two, it should hopefully get eased out.
Right, Mr. Kejriwal, it is so good to talk to you. And of course, it was great to know that times haven't been better and it's a problem of plenty. I hope and wish you luck. We'll hopefully connect with you soon again, hopefully when the fourth quarter earnings are out as well. But good luck until then.
Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.
Well, that was the manager of KEC talking about how it's a problem of plenty and they've not seen more orders in their life. That's how great and good it's looking for KEC. But well, I'm going to quickly toss it over to Murli Swaminathan.